Hey guys, I'm Jacob and I want to talk to you today about the golden era of the knife industry and why it is right now. This concept kind of came to me from James Yeager, and people would always say, man, the golden era of guns, of ammo was so cheap. He'd always say the golden era is right now. And what he's meaning is it's going to get a lot worse. You're going to look back to right now and be like, and see all of the good things as compared to where you're at in the future that you don't see now, because right now it's just normal to you. Now, the knife industry is a little bit different, where we could look at the price of 5.56, 7.62 by 39, 308, 9mm, whatever in the past, and see how good it was. The knife industry is better because when we look back, things were not as good as they are now. Things have progressively in the knife industry gotten better. It's really, really amazing. And I want to talk about it because I think that you might need to see it while it's here. Now, with all of this being said, if you have not already figured this out in the first minute of this video, this is going to be a discussion type video. This is a video where I just talk off the hip about things that I know and feel as if I were here with you. So if that's not your thing, bounce now. And this video is made possible through my own company and brand, Exodus Knife and Tool. It is manufactured by White River Knife and Tool, so some of the things that I say in this video could potentially sound very biased. I assure you I will be as objective as possible, and I will try and show you how that is. But we're going to talk about a lot of different people who I'm completely disassociated with, but my story starts with White River, so that's the way that's going to be. But you can find my knives at exodusknifeandtool.com. Lifetime guarantee on standard options, so check it out. We've got some really cool and fun stuff. So I have essentially been a knife reviewer for a very long time. I've always been really into knives. I was really into knives before the military, in the military, and in Afghanistan I was really into knives. I've always been into survival, and although I might not have known the term at the time, bushcraft. So I had some horrible experiences around 2009 with the knives that were production knives that were available on the market when I was deploying. I had some really awful experiences, and when I got out of the military, I wanted to get more into survival and bushcraft, and man, I started just really getting into knives. I had a lot of knives before, but there's a lot of things I didn't understand. And I got out of the military and I just jumped in with both feet. It was kind of crazy. And at that time, a good production knife really meant a Becker. ESEE was not a thing yet, or was very, very new at this point. You had Ontario Knife Company and you had Tops Knives for the most part. And then if you wanted something really, really nice, you went, I believe even at this time, with something like a Chris Reeves. But the price, when you got away from standard production, when you got to premium production or custom, the prices were sky high. Now, I'm saying these things from the viewpoint of a guy who is fairly new into this whole thing. So I didn't know everything at the time, and this was my perspective. I was familiar with Bussey and INFI or Infi at the time, and so I remember looking at the prices and just being blown away. However, I remember after the military looking at the prices of the BK9 versus the ESEE Hunglist and thinking the Hunglist was expensive, so take that with a grain of salt. However, when I deployed, I bought a Tops Dart, one of the first ones they ever made, an S30V. It was like $300, and you had to pay extra at that time to get your knife sharp. That is a key point in this video, which is the access to knowledge. And I'm going to talk about dead internet theory in a podcast here pretty soon. We recently had Knife Steel Nerds, Laren Thomas, some of his articles get ripped off on an AI website. AI websites and fake information and auto-generated information is becoming a real thing right now. Fake users and bots on social media is a huge thing right now. And trolls, just pure trolls, is a huge thing right now. So right now we are at a point where we are at the pinnacle of available knowledge, and we're about to come off the other end of that as part of the point of this video. But we're building up to that point. So back here in 2009 to 2012, more carbon was more better. So 1075 sucked, and 1085 was 10 better, and 1095 was 20 best, because more is more better. And a sharp knife was weak, but a dull knife was much tougher. All right, this was from Tops again, and officially documented and advertised part of their marketing. And it wasn't just Tops, it was all over, and I still hear this sometimes. The understanding of metallurgy and blade geometry and edge geometry was still a closely held secret. This was still things that manufacturers may learn about, but they were keeping to themselves. And if somebody's knife performed really well, it was because the magic that that company used. We've moved away from that today. We still see the remnants of that in marketing with certain companies and in certain places, but overall, thanks to people like Cliff Stamp, who I owe a video to, and Laren Thomas, we are living in an age of free information that is being put out there, and custom knife makers all over this country and all over this world are doing work that was unobtainable 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, having knowledge at the outset, just at the beginning, that was a master's knowledge before. I've talked to some Japanese makers and seen some Japanese makers, and they, like their katanas, had these secret edge geometries, and it was an apple seed convex, or it was a clamshell convex, and this one and this and that and the other, and it was magic. We are out of that right now. But we're in one of these times of knowledge. It's always short-lived. It's not good for marketing, for cheap marketing and big business, and it's not as fun. And ultimately, things will change, and the economy will change, and the access to information will change, because information is power, information is money, and it can't be just given out for free. We've got to shut that crap down. We will see changes because of the economy and because of the dead internet, where this will go away. But right now, 8 minutes in, which is crazy. I thought we'd be way past this already. And so the change, right now, White River Knife and Tool. Reef knives, there's like Scandinoff, TRC, Smith & Sons. There's so many, I can't even think of. Even Essie Knives has taken a huge step up and had some big offerings. Today, you can go buy a knife in stock, off the shelf, for proportionally a non-existent amount of money. It might be a lot of money to you, but compare it with inflation and everything else, and it's almost nothing. You can buy a knife off the shelf, production knife, that is better than any custom you could have gotten 30 years ago. You could have bought a knife from the crazy master, where when you deal in inflation, it's $2,000 or $3,000 for the knife, and you can pick something up off the shelf right now that will be better. And so I think a big brand that started to change this, where White River comes in, let's see, it was 2018 or 2017. I got my first White River from Chris Tanner at Prepared Mind 101. I traded him like serial number 7, FC5. Firecraft 5, designed by Jason Teets, for a Scrapyard Knife Company 111 with an Aswelke Kydex sheath. And I didn't really like the Scrapyard that much, and I didn't really like the Respreen scales. Traded it to him, got a like new FC5, and I remember I was beating on this knife. It was S30V at the time. I was beating on this knife in a class with Justin Vidito, and I was abusing it. And I was doing bow drills and all kinds of stuff. And I had made some mistakes, put it into the ground, but I was hard reviewing it, and it was holding up perfectly. And I was batoning with it, and I was like blown away. I had gotten past the stainless steels are weak thing already through testing of 12C27 and other stainlesses that I'd absolutely beat on. So I had gotten past a lot of that misinformation that was an industry standard for a long time. But I was still blown away. This edge had no damage, and it should have. And I started really looking into White River. I had never invested in White River. I had traded towards White River because I didn't want to pay to buy one. It was too much money. And I started seeing the value when I started using this FC5. I'm all about getting the most for your money. I'm all like, I want to have, if I'm going to race, I want to be like in the crappiest rig so that if I win, nobody can be like, he only won the race because he had the fastest rig. I want to be like, no, I won the race because I had the slowest rig. I want to be able to complete a task. All these hobbies that I'm into like pushing how far I can go with the cheapest thing. So I totally understand that mentality, but it was the FC5 where I was like, this thing is worth, this is amazing. This is worth the money. Like, this is awesome. And, you know, I think it was 2019 at Blade Show, I gave White River Knife and Tool Manufacturer of the Year. I had never talked to these guys through email. I had never done anything with these guys. I did a video, embarrassingly, for my Manufacturer of the Year video at Blade Show. I did a video with John Kaminga Sr. He was in the video with me, and I talked the whole time, and he never said anything. I never gave him an opportunity to speak. I think Blade Show's so hectic. It was crazy. I had all these things in my head, all these things I wanted to do, all these people I wanted to talk to. I just went in shooting from the hip, just like I'm doing right now, and I had, and I didn't ask him any questions. I didn't do anything. He was just there with me. It was, as soon as I left Blade Show, I edited the video. I was so embarrassed. Horrible. But that year, you know, I looked across their line again, and I was just like, holy crap. These guys are really amazing. Now, down the road, I was having my knife brand, which I mentioned, manufactured by Mineral Mountain Hatchet Works. And in Arkansas, they're great. So if you want probably the best value big beater blade, this is not a fit and finish. You're not going to buy it to put it on a shelf. You're not going to buy it to have perfect grind or anything. If you want a big, beat the piss out of it blade for an awesome price, check out Mineral Mountain Hatchet Works. They were making this little adventure craft. Long story short, I talked to Ted Frizzell, and he was like, hey, bad news. I had a pre-order. We're not going to make your pre-order. Not their fault. A bunch of stuff happened. It's fine. And so I was looking like crazy for a new manufacturer. All these people already had pre-order, already had paid knives through me. It was like this, it's like what I had imagined a Survive situation to be like. I had all of these pre-orders. We were already 3 months late on my expected deadline for the knives, and the call said, we're not making them. Okay. I reached out to everybody except for White River Knife and Tool because I thought there's no way these guys are ever going to work with me. To me, they're like Benchmade, or they're like, you know, they're the big leagues. But I knew Jason Teets, and I'd talked to him a little bit. And I messaged him. I was like, do you think I should reach out to him? He's like, dude, just do it. And White River was excited to work with me. All right, so where the crap was I going? That's how that all started. But like, all of that started after I had already realized how amazing White River was. That's why I talked about all of that. And they're the best people I could ever work with these knives. They are amazing. They do a ton of OEM work. You saw the Cold Steel, the premium Cold Steel American knife came out, made by them. A lot of the newer SEs that are amazing are made by them. They just do such good work. Thin edge geometry, awesome steels, awesome attention to detail. But now, I haven't used a Smith & Sons, but they look amazing. We've got TRC in Lithuania I've beat on, and they are amazing. I talked about price earlier, and I'm going to talk about that again. Let's see. Skandinavien in the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic is putting out some amazing fit and finish knives. You can, like I said, you can buy a premium steel, excellent heat treat, excellent attention to detail knife for next to nothing. And what does next to nothing mean? To get off topic again, let's talk about lever actions really quick. I did a video on custom lever actions from Marlin before they went under. They were like, the custom shop was like $2,500 to $3,000. That video exploded because everybody's like, why are these guns so expensive? They should be this good from the factory at their standard price. They're making bull crap, blah, 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 blah. It used to be that you would spend like 6 months to a year's full salary to buy a Winchester. People are like, in the good old days, grandpappies. Yeah, your grandpappy saved up for years to buy that rifle, and the fit and finish and the quality was so good, and it was all done by hand because it cost a year's salary or 6 months salary. And people would pay that happily because their gun wasn't a toy. They needed it. It was a tool like their house or like their car. And that's what attention to detail cost. So people paid it. And now manufacturers are making guns as cheap as possible, and Marlin and everybody else is doing these $500 brand new lever actions because they're just a toy. And I saw a statistic that said the average gun in America in its lifetime is shot 7 times or something like that. Like, your guns are toys. That's why you don't care about your Second Amendment infringements, is because I'm a law-abiding citizen. They're not taking my guns, because you're not worried about using that gun for military purposes for what it was intended to be used for, which is why the law exists, so that you can go form a militia whenever you want. And that's also why you're okay with all of these anti-militia laws, which are more specifically what the Second Amendment is about than your firearms in the first place. Free militias, not ran by your government. Anyway, so your perceived value. So I believe a BK9 cost about $90 shipped, and that was cheap. That was the street price. MSRP, I believe, was $180 or $150. You could get for $80 or $90, I think. An SP series knife was $50 at this point. But if you account for inflation, like they'll tell you, and we're going to talk about the economy in a second, they'll tell you that inflation's 3% or whatever. Look at your grocery bill. Stuff is costing me double if you account for size, weight, volume, whatever. So an $80 knife or a $90 knife, whatever you think, we want to spend the same amount that we used to spend, despite the world costing what it costs now. That money back then, today, might have been a $300 knife plus. So people get butthurt over reef knives, I think, being $300 to $400, or Skandinavien or TRC or anything else. And I don't think they realize what attention to detail and quality control cost. They want to buy a TRC quality fit and finish and attention to detail knife at an SE price, and they don't appreciate the SE price or how amazing it is that SE can get the prices that they do, or that TRC can get the prices that they do. And so the economy, again, really quick, I see sometimes when I go into mixed political open discussion social groups, people talking about inflation's only 3%, blah 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 blah. And here's what I tell you about that: Here's how, and this is verifiable, here's how economies collapse. When everybody thinks the economy is crashing and is afraid and panics, that's when your economy collapses. So your government has a vested interest in not having people panic. Look around. So a couple of these aren't proof. These are a couple things that you can, if you open your eyes, you can see for yourself. The Sportsman's Guide a few years ago was just this massive company. I just had 2 orders that I placed on Amazon. I hate that I shop on Amazon. 2 orders that I placed on Amazon that were canceled. Paid in full. They were canceled the day I was supposed to receive them. They don't say they're out of stock on the website. Canceled. Or is it the Sportsman's Warehouse? Whatever. I went to one of their retail locations recently in Lexington, and I've been to a few before. It looked empty. It looked completely empty. I've had a lot of problems with Stihl power equipment lately, and not necessarily the power equipment itself, but the service. You see, you used to buy a Stihl chainsaw or something like that, and part of the value of what you paid for was every place that sold Stihl power equipment had to have a Stihl certified tech. You buy a chainsaw somewhere, something goes wrong, it's in warranty, it's out of warranty, doesn't matter, you take it back to where you bought it, you have a certified technician who will repair it, and his repairs will be warranted by Stihl because he knows what he's doing, he's been trained. Now, they've changed things so that you have 1 or 2 Stihl certified technicians per region. And every place that sells Stihls, you can take your stuff and return it to them, but they just take it to that guy, and you have backlogs of half a year to a year plus. And it's not just Stihl. I talked to loggers recently who said that Husqvarna is the same way. What you have is you have a population and people who are wanting to spend less and less. They have less and less and less spending money. They're expecting to get more and more and more, and they're like, corporate greed is causing this, and blah, 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 blah. Companies are getting leaner and leaner and leaner, hiring less and less and less people, doing less, offering less, having less innovation, because they can't afford to exist anymore like they used to. You know, in the Old West, if you went to a saloon or something, if you were a miner working, you went to the saloon, all the food was free. You'd go in there and they'd have beans, overnight beans or whatever else, and they would feed you for free in a lot of these places. When I was younger, you would go to places and you got more for your money. You would go on flights and you would get free meals and free this and free that, and companies could afford to take care of you. And the first things, these indicators of the health of the economy, is customer service, quality control, and after sale support. And what we're seeing obviously is more and more importing, and it used to be that these companies could afford to still have customer service support and industry support for racing or competition or whatever else because they sent stuff overseas, and now they can't. They're cutting all the fat. Right now, if you're running a business, I don't care where you are flexible and you are lean, and you have to be. I was mowing lawns in 1996 for $20 for a small lawn. So what did I do after I mowed a few lawns in 1996? I went out and I bought an ounce of gold for $300. I think an ounce of gold right now is like $2,800. I had to do what? I had to mow 15 lawns as a 6-year-old kid to buy an ounce of gold. It's insane. To make that value for service equivalent, I would now have to charge $200 alone. The economy will not support that. I don't care. MSM controls the numbers. Your government controls the numbers. Things are controlled on both sides. I don't care what you say they say the inflation is. You will not pay me $200 to mow your tiny little suburban lawn because you can't afford to. Because service providers have become more competitive, more lean, are doing more work for less. This is how you judge the health of an economy and a nation. So when you look at these prices, right now you have the wealth of information before it gets crushed for free. Go to Knife Steel Nerds. You used to see the most stupid charts for knife performance, for edge holding, toughness, etc., corrosion resistance. I still see some of these archived charts from 2010, 2015, and I'm like, who came up with this? This is the dumbest information I've ever seen. Right now, you can afford to see a scientist who is paid to do this for his actual job, who is probably has tens of thousands of dollars and countless man hours in doing studies, and he will give you the information for free. People hated Cliff Stamp because he actually did testing, and he shared that information for free. And the people that had manufacturers that were just getting fat off of marketing, and this guy was contradicting their marketing, I guarantee you they're a big part of why this guy was infamous in so many places. Because the truth is hated when people are profiting on a lie. Right now is the golden age. If you want a Grail knife, right now is the time. I promise you. We're seeing custom makers left and right they've already started working a second job. We've got guys left and right pulling the plug. Makers with a big following. We are going to see companies fail and disappear. And, you know, I've talked a lot about Survive Knives recently. When Survive Knives started, they got the momentum that they got it because Guy, like myself, saw this gap in the market for better fit and finish, for better stuff at a good price. He saw that gap. Sadly, he's a criminal who saw an opportunity to take advantage of this. Survive is not nearly as relevant today as they were then. Even if Survive wasn't a criminal, he could have done great things if he wasn't a criminal, but he is. But even if he did that, it would not be as relevant today as it was because the competition is head and shoulders above what it used to be. All of these companies, these knife makers that you think are charging too much, these guys are passionate. They are lean. They are flexible. They are cutting profit margins. They are spending what they have to on marketing. Everybody's trying to screw them for every dime and dollar possible just to have their name be heard. Other YouTube channels are charging thousands of dollars for YouTube videos. Other YouTube channels won't do YouTube videos for people like me anymore because they have to get thousands of dollars for imported knives to do these videos, to make enough money to keep living the lifestyle. Everybody is trying to just squeeze every dollar out of every business and everything that they possibly can right now because the economy and the industry is dying. This is what leads up to world wars and huge things happening, along with some other stuff that we have coming right now, some cataclysmic crap. This is the golden age. If you've got that Grail knife on the list, get it. And by the way, I'll have a custom knife soon. I'm just going to blow your minds. I'm selling a couple of things to get it. It's $700. Hand carved in detail that you can't imagine from Poland with a sheath. Unimaginable quality. The price is astronomical. I'm buying it and selling things to get this thing because I know that the price is 1/5 of what it should be for what I'll be getting. I'm going to take out in the woods. I'm going to beat the piss out of it because that's what I like doing, and for you guys. And I can do that right now because, again, this is the golden age, guys. Look around. Don't worry about what I tell you about the economy. Don't worry about what the news tells you about the economy. Open your eyeballs, look around, look at these businesses, look at the things that you know and compare them to how they used to be. The truth is right in front of you. Anyways, this is a long video. I'm wrapping it up. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. And guys, if you want to help support the channel, please check out the description box below. I've got the Patreon too. I've got affiliate links to places that sell a wide variety of things, so you can buy the things that you're already buying, probably from the place that you're already buying them from. It won't cost you anything extra, and I can get a little kickback from that. I'm running this knife company myself, and I'm trying to be as lean as possible and flexible as possible, and I'm trying to invest in a bunch of different places because I'm so passionate about knives that to do what I think should be done, I've got to do all these different crazy things. It didn't used to be that way. But that's the deal, guys. Right now, people are like, Jake, I want to start making knives. You better want to start making knives because you love making knives. Or do a YouTube channel or whatever else, because right now is not probably not the time. Although, as we have all these custom makers pulling the plug and bowing out, you're gonna be able to buy some really, really good equipment. A sweet 2x72 grinder, even heat treat kilns. You're gonna start seeing this stuff dirt freaking cheap when we start getting squeezed just a little bit harder. And at that point, maybe it will be the time to start getting into it, but not to make money, to do it for yourself. Regardless, I'm rambling at this point. I think that my points have been made. I'm sure I forgot a whole bunch of things, but you know what? I don't know that anything else needs to be said. So again, let me know what you think in the comments section below, and I'll talk to you there.